I think the thing is with fashion, the easiest thing is, when it comes down to content, briefing our creators correctly and giving them correct talking points based around the product. But also it's easy for these creators to create content with fashion products. It's easy to show those products off, and, activating them with the correct resources, I think, goes a long way.
When you look at a brand that comes in, what do you think matters more at the beginning? Product uniqueness, price point, margin, demo ability, or creator appeal? And you have to pick one.
I would definitely say, it does take a lot, but, the biggest thing I would say is making sure, we're all aligned as a team, especially, with our community manager, shop ops team, especially.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Unofficial TikTok Shop podcast. Today is a Social Commerce Club exclusive. I am pulling back behind the scenes with a TikTok Shop strategist at Social Commerce Club, Christian Bross. Christian, I've never actually said your last name before. Welcome to the pod. Did I get it?
Yep, you got it right. Glad to be here.
Dude, awesome. That's super great. I am really excited to talk to you. You and I had a great discussion this week, and Larissa, my head of content, was like, dude, you got to just get on and talk to Christian and let's start getting some conversations with strategists. I'm really excited about this because for the brands that are watching this, the agencies, I know there's a lot of agency and SaaS that watch these podcasts as well or listen to these podcasts. We're going to get into the nitty gritty sort of stuff of what is actually working, the different tests that we're trying. The funny thing about the industry that we're in right now is that we're really just trying all of this stuff out for the first time, and then we go out there, and I go out on LinkedIn and Twitter and YouTube and just be like, so here's what we tried, here's what's working. This is the most up-to-date information that you were going to get, so I'm super excited for this. Before we get into creators, ads, GMV max, creative, all of that kind of stuff, tell me a little bit about who you are and what you do at SEC.
Yeah, so I'm Christian Bross. I'm the lead strategist here at SEC, and been working here the past, 2, almost 3 months on a various selection of different brands from different categories. So I came from a lot of different experience in the past couple of years in TikTok Shop since its first launch. So I got a pretty decent background with a lot of different categories.
Yeah, awesome. And we threw Christian right into the deep end. Christian, from the accounts that you've managed, what is the biggest misconception that brands have when they say hey, we just want to scale on TikTok Shop? What is the misconception that you see that you're trying to help brands out with when you're talking to them?
I would say, there's a lot of different strategy levers, but the biggest thing going into it is definitely, the investment from the brand side,
It's surprising, hey? I think that it is actually, we continually are actually more. No, actually, you need to put in more.
Yeah, and I feel like they don't really understand, especially when it comes to creators, keeping these creators active with various different, paid incentive campaigns can go a long way with building these relationships with these creators. So I think that is a huge lever in, showing the client that we really do need a budget for our creators.
Totally. What are some non-monetary ways that brands can actually help incentivize creators that are not have nothing to do with budget and money? Because I agree. I think that money is the thing that really helps that out. But what are some of the ways that you think that brands can actually help incentivize creators even more?
I think one of the biggest ways would be actually, some brands having their actual owner, interact with these creators and hyping them up, for specific key moments within, TikTok Shop, especially whether it's a campaign led by the brand or whether it's a TikTok Shop campaign. That's a key moment we should highlight, and having a owner that's capable and looking forward to building a relationship with these creators, so that way it can be ultimately the best result when these creators actually hear from the owner behind the brand, rather than just somebody, rather than us, where, we talk to creators every day, but they like to actually learn about the brand's story because it inspires them in a way and really builds a connection from the creators and keeps them engaged.
Yeah. So interesting. This week, I didn't tell you this, obviously. But I'm telling you right now, Christian, we chatted with a brand of one of the biggest podcasters in the entire world, his brand that he owns. And we were chatting with them and just saying like, hey, are you open to any other kinds of incentives? And they're like, oh, absolutely. He's open to doing dinners with creators that hit this high of a mark. And number one, I was like totally fangirling. I was like, oh my gosh. I'm like, I want to be at that. I will be the liaison. I'll be the creator liaison to this dinner. It's like a podcast I listen to like every single week, every episode religiously. And I was thinking to myself, oh my gosh, well, with the amount of, we have a bunch of celebrity backed brands coming in right now. I'm like, oh my gosh, if they can offer their time, right? And even just like I look at like Curtis at Portland Leather Goods. Are you on that account at all, or do you ever see that account?
I've seen a little bit. Yeah, Cam shared a lot with me, and I'm in the WhatsApp channel, so.
Okay, so you're in the WhatsApp channel. So one of the cool things there, I mean, tell me, what does Curtis do at Portland Leather Goods and the team there? Like walk me through, like, why are they successful in that sort of way besides the money?
I think one of the biggest things is he actually, hops on takes time out of his day to, film videos and send them into our actual creator community to hype up these creators and really keep them interactive within the WhatsApp community. Like, that community is so active, like, all day, even at night. You see at 3, 4 a.m. These creators are talking it up, and they love hearing from Curtis and his feedback.
And it's kind of wild because like it doesn't actually take that much time, right? It's like it's the same thing. Like people are like, Jordan, how do you pump out so much content? How do you do this? I'm like, dude, I'm thinking to myself, and then I'm thinking, oh, how would this add some value out in the world? So I put it there. It's the same thing for like if you think about the guys that are the most successful out there, it's just that they're trying to give as much value as possible. Curtis is just doing that. He's just sitting down at his desk and he's like, well, instead of like 2 minutes of scrolling, I'll just say something encouraging to the creators and tell them. Like, it's not hard to do, but I think a lot of brand owners just miss that. They miss that really big piece, and so maybe you work for a brand that's massive and not founder led anymore, right? We work with a lot of brands like that now, Christian, right? Like where it's like, yeah, they've got like a board, they've got people who this is their job. I still think that if it is your job, it is like there should be a creator cheerleader aspect to your job. Like, I don't know. That's personally what I think. What do you think, Christian?
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. I know, some brands like to, especially, I think one thing that a lot of brands probably don't do on TikTok that I think is very valuable is actually being interactive on their brand page and posting, content, especially founder-led content, or even maybe one time a month, say they go live on their brand page, but they bring on the founder, for 1 mega live a month. I think that can be very valuable, especially for your customers. But having, somebody behind the brand or an image of somebody behind the brand, whether it's the founder or maybe, somebody that just does all their content that's constantly in their videos, I think can be very valuable for a lot of different levers, whether it's from the brand account or building a relationship with the creator.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so Christian, when you look at a product right at the beginning, when you look at a brand that comes in, what do you think matters more at the beginning? Product uniqueness, price point, margin, demo ability, or creator appeal? And you have to pick one.
Honestly, I would probably say creator appeal because, on TikTok, it all comes down to the creators in that sense of marketing.
Totally.
If the creator is very interested in your product, we've seen it with, Curtis at PLG, like, that's a privilege to work with a brand like that. Like, these creators, really value that connection because it performs so well.
Yeah, absolutely. What's the product or offer pattern that you've seen repeatedly work across multiple brands? Like, is there like a formula that seems to work, Christian?
When it comes down to the product, I would say, it really has to do with, creator engagement around that product. But specifically, I feel like at SEC have found very successful is, fashion brands have done very well with us. So.
Yeah. I mean, the real reason, or like the real thought that I'm having behind this is like, why? Like, why are they, like, what is the thing that we are doing behind the scenes that help them actually be successful? Is it just that we have this incredible creator product fit in fashion, or is there more to is there more to it?
I think the thing is with the fashion, the easiest thing is when it comes down to content, briefing our creators correctly and giving them the correct talking points based around the product. But also, it's easy for these creators to create content with fashion products. It's easy to show those products off, and activating them with the correct resources. I think goes a long way.
It's interesting because I was at the TikTok Shop Summit recently, and when I was there, so I'm like hanging out with all of these like different agency owners, right? And every agency owner came up to me and they're like, Jordan, we'll give you fashion. Like, can you figure out some kind of brand to give us, right? And I'm like, well, we'll take fashion, but I don't know if we're going to give up any others. But no one has cracked fashion like we have, right? And it's interesting, like, I don't know if you knew this, Christian, like I owned 8 different clothing companies over the years, right? Like I know this sphere, I know, and this is where like the Blitz is built from, right? So like anyone coming into the Blitz, if they came from the fashion world, they'd know like, oh yeah, it's just running the same playbook that we run all the time. Like we used to do that all the time, where we would have like this is actually an old a shirt from an old company that I used to own, most comfortable shirt ever. We would just run new graphics all the time, right? It'd be like, oh sweet, we're gonna do this graphic and do it with a limited drop and a limited amount of items and for a limited time, right? And you just work that. And for me, that's like just principle based marketing. It's like, this is how it actually works. I think that's why we've been successful at SEC. Tell me, let's get back into creators, because I really do think that creators are like the ultimate leverage point. So what separates brands that get consistent creator output from brands that just send samples and hear crickets? Like, what is the difference between these brands?
I think it's great, talking about this, because I've actually been on both sides of this. Coming into SEC, we already have a huge creator community, already active. So when we bring on new brands, we're able to, invite them to work with another company that maybe they're interested in, and they're looking forward to working with. I think, when you're just pumping out samples and not bringing like really any value to the creator, you're probably going to get lower ticket creators. More so the higher performing creators, like to see, I've talked to various different high performing creators, and some of them doing $1.8 million in GMV a month, and they actually prefer maybe not a retainer, but actually, and they're not always in it for the incentive money. They'd rather you actually put specific amount of spend behind their content, because ultimately it helps their account perform better and have a bigger audience.
Absolutely. How many creators does a brand realistically need in motion before they can learn anything meaningful? Like what in your case where you're like, oh, okay, we have this many active creators, we're going to be able to start going. Like, what is that moment for you?
I feel like it definitely depends on the brand, but I usually see once we hit around 1,000 creatives within GMV Max, if it's a cold start from scratch. And really, I'd like to have at least over 1,000 active posting creators. I think that's where performance really starts to excel and grow from there.
It's so interesting. The 1,000 videos, right? That's kind of that mark that we continually see be that tipping point, this like weird mathematical thing at SEC that we're like, okay, just get to 1,000 videos as much as possible. Tell me, what do you think that brands, and like, what do you look for in an affiliate? Like, what are the different like soft sort of things that you're looking for that you can't really filter for?
I would say it really depends on the brand, but I like to look at some of their past content, and how well it matched with the new product or brand we're promoting. I want them to perform well with the product we're sampling out. Ultimately, I do think GMV is big, to look at, but also some of these creators, can post really good content for a specific category, and they may have low GMV. They may only do, $3,000 a month, but we've seen.
I mean, every creator started out with $0 of GMV, right? Let's remember that. Like,
yeah, there's thousands of creators, joining the affiliate program every month. So I think really, it comes down to having an open mind, working with these creators, and we've even seen in the past, creators doing maybe $2,000 in GMV, and they start working with this certain brand we have, and now they're doing 50K a month. So being open to every creator, I think the biggest battle, when vetting creators and looking into, sample requests and whatnot with specific outreach, through utilizing Reacher is, weeding out those creators that maybe don't fit the, brand's demographic, or maybe even the type of content they want. Because, working with some really big brands, they don't like to see AI content. It's, getting really big on TikTok, and we're trying to avoid that with a lot of different brands. But then you run into some brands where they don't care what content's posted. They just want to see dollars rolling in. So
yeah, it's interesting. That's an interesting short-term and long-term sort of play on things. So something that I saw yesterday implemented, and I don't know if we're seeing this across TikTok yet, but something I saw on Twitter yesterday was this post was generated by AI, was tagged underneath it. Crazy. I'm like, oh, finally the platforms are catching on to this, because I think it's really important to understand. And I'm not saying like, sure, go ahead, like do some stuff with AI, but like I think that it's really important to understand where humans need to step in and where creators and where AI should step in. Let's go back to creators for a sec here. Walk me through content and creator briefs. Like, what do the best ones include, and then what do they avoid?
I think biggest thing when we're creating a product brief, aligning with the brand and what they want, but also, I really like to implement, if the brand does not want bottom of the funnel videos, we need to make that known, or they don't want AI content, making those things known so our creators going in, actually know what we're looking for, and we're not sampling out to creators that are just going to waste our time or our money. Yeah. Ultimately, I think it comes down to the creators, quality of content, and I feel like going into a brief, it's just aligning with the brand on what they're exactly looking for, and also seeing what's worked on, Meta for them. Looking at ultimately what hooks, what content has worked for them there, and then we can also implement that strategy over to TikTok.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What are some examples of creative angles that tend to work across all categories? Do you have something in the back of your head of like, oh yeah, this kind of thing works here?
I think the biggest thing is, your hook. That's, you got to catch the viewer. On TikTok, you can scroll very quickly through your For You page, and ultimately,
dude, it's insane how fast people scroll through. Like, insane. I've told this story before, but I was at Disneyland February, and I was standing in line, and I saw this girl in front of us. She was like, I don't know, 12 or 13. She's on her phone, and she's just like scrolling like this, and then she like pauses for like a second. I was like, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that this is the, like, I don't know. I'm 40. I have a bit of a longer attention span, but this is who you're selling to on TikTok, right? Like, the attention spans are so incredibly low.
I know that's one thing that I've even seen is, some brands comparing what works on Meta even to TikTok may not be the same.
Yeah.
Because like Meta, you're not scrolling as quickly as you are on TikTok, I believe, so you don't necessarily always need, at least on Meta, that hook right in the beginning. I've seen creators...
And it's a different demo too, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I think the Facebook demo is very different than Instagram, than TikTok. Well, Instagram and TikTok are probably, there's some overlap for sure, but yeah, that's...
I think Facebook definitely has a little bit of older demographic, I'd say.
I would say so too. Yeah, absolutely. When a video sells, right, how do you decide whether to recreate it or not? Like, are you making those kinds of decisions at the strategist sort of level of like, hey, this video is doing amazing. Like what do you decide to do with that once you've found a winning concept? Like you've worked with a brand that does, $3 to $5 million a month. There's some like winning videos in there. Like, how do you decide whether or not you're going to like what you're going to do exactly with that data and with that creative?
I think the biggest thing is actually, what I've seen is pulling the creative insights. So, taking that video, pulling the hook and everything about that video, exactly how they execute it word for word, and then actually, implementing that into maybe a campaign brief for an up and coming campaign that may include that shoe, and show different, three of our top videos from that product, and actually show, what hooks, what content insights are actually working, for that product.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, absolutely. I think that's a massive thing. That's all stuff that we can do through Reacher as well, right? Like they have all of those capabilities built in. Why do I know? Because I tell them what to build. I'm like, guys, we need this certain thing. Cool thing now too, using AI, is they have this MCP connector that we can actually pull all of this data out, which is incredible. So when we're like, hey, walk me through, like, find me 20 creators in our pool that aren't working with this brand, but are crushing with only one of our brands, right? Like, this is the kind of stuff now that we can just pull out and be like, oh, here's all of these people. Sweet. And then because we also have Airtable hooked up in the background, we can go in and we can be like, okay, give me their WhatsApp numbers. And then Christian can just go right through and be like, hey, Shelby, just wanted to say, you're crushing over there on this brand. I got this sweet new brand. They're offering crazy amounts of commission. I think that you should test it out for at least for a bit. Like, maybe can we get 5 or 10 videos of this product, right? Like, that's the gold. That's the gold that we're seeing here at SEC. What else are you seeing, Christian? Like, what else is working?
I would say, at least for, some of our really, big brands that I've been able to be on and work with, is actually implementing everything across the board, not just activating, creators maybe for video posting, but also live selling. Live selling is huge on TikTok, and I think it's another thing, especially for creators. It can be a privilege, and we can leverage that with specific, paid campaigns and commission structures with implementing live flash sales specifically for their live, to build more urgency when they do go live. I've seen, a lot of GMV be generated by creator lives specifically, and also with brand handle lives as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You've worked on some bigger accounts where the stakes are way higher. The spends are bigger. There's more moving pieces. What do those teams tend to do differently than smaller teams?
I would definitely say, it does take a lot, but, the biggest thing I would say is making sure, we're all aligned as a team, especially, with our community manager, shop ops team, especially, that's a lot of people we're managing in some of those communities where these big brands are. We have, thousands of creators in one group, so keeping them active and up to date with all our campaigns that are going on, and actually building a relationship. That's what I've seen, at least from my perspective, is building a relationship with these creators can go a long way, and really taking care of them in a sense of working with the brand. That way it even comes into play when, say, I am starting with another cold start brand. I can reach out to those creators I've already built a personal relationship with, and they're a lot more likely to work with other exciting new brands I have, rather than somebody that just cold outreaches to them.
How do we get like within an agency, right? And like because I know there's a lot of agency people that listen to this pod. So how do agencies get other strategists, right, that are working, that might have relationships, right? Like, because there are one-on-one relationships, inherently it's like, how do we then get those creators across multiple brands? Like, what do you think that we do moving forward to do that?
We can always download specific lists and reach out to them through Reacher, but I feel like that's just not appealing to especially these high value creators. They'd rather hear from you as a person. So I ultimately think reaching out to them with a personable message. I've ran into this recently with a specific brand, and they had a very enticing brand story, and I think they do donate a lot of money to specific different causes and whatnot, and I think that can go a long way, because it's not some of these creators actually look at just these corporate brands and like they don't care about us. You know what I'm saying? But some of these other brands really do care about you and what you do for their brand, and they will take care of you. And they also have a very enticing story that I think can be relatable to some of these creators.
Yeah. I think I think you're totally right. Let's try and land the plane here, and let's make this practical. So for a brand that's listening right now that wants to scale on TikTok Shop, what should they do in the next 7 days? Like, list it out for me.
In the next 7 days, if they're like, they have their shop already set up, I think ultimately creating a creator community with offering specific benefits to these creators. And then from there, reaching out through mass outreach and, utilizing specific creator categories that maybe match your product and really vetting these creators. But activating them, I think, is the biggest thing, and having them all in one place in a community to where you're constantly talking to them, building a relationship, and then from there you can really grow.
Yeah, I am totally with you. I think that the big thing here is that it's about relationships, right? This is something you can't ad your way out of, right? You can't just it's not like Facebook ads where it's like, oh, sweet, I can go to AI and say, create me 50 variations of this one single image ad, and then it's going to work. That's not the way that this works, guys. It's so different than that. TikTok Shop is a system, right? All of these things working together. Christian, dude, thanks so much for coming on and chatting with me. What's one final thing that you want to leave people with?
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on, and I really do believe that, TikTok's not comparable to Meta in a sense. It's just so much different. It's a much human led platform where, like Meta, you can just turn an ad on and you'll see results immediately. Where on TikTok, it takes a lot more work and heavy lifting, with these relationships you're building and what you're offering them in a sense. It can be very beneficial to, getting usage rights to these videos, and it'll even have a halo effect onto your Meta, utilizing that content on there as well, and even over to Amazon, because a lot of people may not want to wait 3 to 5 days to get their product. They'll go straight to Amazon and buy it right away. So there's a lot of benefits to TikTok Shop, and it's not just all about TikTok Shop. There's a lot more to it. Even flowing over to other platforms and exploding them on there. Yeah. And we've seen growing it in general on TikTok Shop can also help with brands getting into retail and retail shelf space. So
massively. Yeah. I listened to a great interview with the founder of Ketone IQ, where he was talking about that with D2C. Now, Ketone IQ, that's one. I actually made a video about them yesterday, just being begging them, you need to get on TikTok Shop to understand this. But he was talking about in D2C, when they go into a Target, a Walmart, a Costco, they're actually just showing their D2C sales. And they're like, look how much money we're spending on ads for D2C. This will halo into retail. People are going to come into retail for this. And that's the new way to get into retail now, right? It's that's how you get your brand awareness. I think TikTok Shop is the cheat code today for that. So, Christian, thanks for your time, dude.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.